Our first video is pretty damn interesting. It comes from the island of Sakhalin, Russia. What first starts as a playful standoff with a bear cub turns deadly in the blink of an eye. When the mother bear appears out of nowhere, defending her cubs, she launches an attack so violent. The after pictures really made me want to throw up. Of course, I can't show them here on YouTube, but if you search for it, you'll find it. The three men in the video have not been named. It's believed that they saw a bear coming towards them, so they retreated to the nearest building, a shed containing building supplies. They hid there, thinking they'd be safe. They quickly changed their minds when another cub and its mother arrives. The mother is a giant bear. To put things into perspective, adult brown bears found in Far East Russia can grow up to more than 590 kilograms, 1,300 pounds in size. They are freaking massive. Anyway, the mama bear growls at them before racing towards them just moments later, and this is where the camera dramatically cuts off. The person recording the video was a builder. He captured his own death on camera. The two other men were in critical condition after the attack and shortly died. The dog in the video was also mauled to death. This is the full unedited video.
Сейчас она ему поймает. Сейчас она сзади нее обошла. Угонем на них, куда полетим. Вот, это уже не я. Нет места. Вот, так я уже эту всю флешку снимал. Ничего себе.
Interestingly, brown bears are generally not aggressive towards humans unless provoked, threatened, or protecting their young. Mother brown bears, on the other hand, are highly protective and will defend their cubs aggressively against pretty much any threat. What an unfortunate event. Our next video comes from Lake Clementine in California. It's Thursday, May 11th, 2017. Raymond Cabelfin and his friends were hiking on a trail surrounding Lake Clementine. They soon found themselves getting overly hot. The temperatures around this lake can easily go up to 40 degrees Celsius on hot summer days. So Raymond and his friend wanted to cool off by jumping into a river. The female friend of his jumps just a few feet forwards and is able to swim back to safety pretty quickly, but Raymond jumped a little further and into the center of a fast moving river. He found himself trapped by the strong current, unable to swim his way to safety. His friends didn't realize it immediately, but these were his very last moments.
Hey, wait, I'm gonna record this.
This is memories right here.
Hey, so we got my cousin, we got my boy Ray. Alright, Ray, go for it, do it, Ray, go! Go! 2, 1! Boom!
Carmen's gone.
Oh, no, he's good. Hey, Ray, you...
He was pulled away quickly by the strong current and within seconds out of sight from his friends, even though they called 911 and raced downstream to try to save him. It was too late. Park rangers responded immediately and searched the area for 7 hours, but were unable to find Raymond. They were quoted as saying, "It's not likely that he is alive. We had enough, people searched the area, and if he was alive, we would have found him." Soon after Raymond vanished, his family launched a GoFundMe account and had raised more than $1,000 by Monday, just days later. The money was used to fund search operations to help locate Raymond. But unfortunately, that same Monday at 3 p.m, he was found 3 miles downstream by a California Highway Patrol helicopter. Even from the helicopter's perspective, it was clear that he was unalive. The family was immediately notified, but the body was too badly decomposed to be identified by them, as it had been in the water for days, on hot summer days too. Coroners confirmed the cause of death was drowning. It's unbelievably unfortunate how fast a strong current can whisk you away, and you're almost powerless to stop it. Raymond was in great shape too, but the current was just too strong. Our next footage shows the very last moments of all 7 astronauts aboard the Columbia Space Shuttle. Footage right from the cockpit where they were so calmly talking just moments before. It's February 1st, 2003. The Columbia Shuttle was on its 28th mission. On board we have a crew of 7 astronauts, crew commander Rick Husband, shuttle pilot William McCall, payload specialist Lan Raymond, mission specialist Michael Anderson, David Brown, Alpina Shala, and Laurel Clark. And no offense to some of the astronauts, they're all amazing people, but some of their names don't even sound real. Or is that just me? Anyway, unfortunately this was their last mission. As the Columbia Space Shuttle re-entered Earth's atmosphere, it broke apart, showering debris over Texas and some parts of Louisiana. It was recorded by thousands of people on the ground watching it take off, and millions worldwide watching on TV.
You see concern etched on their faces. The breath that they've been holding released. And then the realization sets in that something is wrong. At that point, all that remained was...
Flight dynamics officer that the vehicle has exploded. Flight director confirms that. We are looking at checking with the recovery forces to see what can be done at this point.
Once the shuttle hit the ground, the crew were recovered, but of course deceased. It would be statistically impossible to survive such an event. The cause of the crash was found 81 seconds after liftoff. A piece of insulating foam broke loose from the external propellant tank, and this crashed into the left wing of the shuttle. The thing is, insulating foam has broke loose on many NASA missions previously, and it has caused little damage, if any. This was up there as one of the most unlucky and most disastrous things that could have happened. The foam carried enough momentum to cause significant damage. It actually punctured a huge hole in the left wing, which led to extreme heat during re-entry into the atmosphere. The wing soon collapsed and the crew's fate was now inevitable. In their last 10 minutes, we can see the moment they launch, where a NASA flight controller literally says, "Okay, no rush, we've got plenty of time."
So we have 10 minutes to get gloves on. Lowell, do you need help? I think I'm almost. Okay. After you get yours, then I'll get mine.
Okay, no rush. Got plenty of time.
Columbia, Houston, comm check. Columbia, Houston, UHF, comm check.
"38 miles above ground, the space shuttle had exploded."
Our next video showcases the last moments of Tetsu Shihara, a Japanese live streamer who died during a live stream climb of Mount Fuji. His death is incredibly sad. Tetsu was believed to be battling stage 4 cancer at the time, and it's debated whether he knew this would be his last climb. He was very unprepared. Climbing Mount Fuji is no joke. It's 3,776 meters tall and contains steep and rocky terrain. And that's not all. Altitude sickness is inevitable as the air gets thinner and thinner higher up the mountain. People usually bring professional mountain gear, but he went up there in streetwear, a pair of gloves and some climbing poles. Just as he was reaching the summit of the mountain, he slipped and fell to his death. Viewers of the livestream immediately notified police. But really, if you fall on this mountain and luck isn't on your side, there's little people can do for you. The mountain's terrain is unforgiving. He was found the next day, unalive. He had fell 1,000 meters from where he slipped. It's unknown whether he died on impact or how long he was alive down there. It's amazing he made it so far, considering it's rumoured that he had stage 4 cancer. It's a shame that he didn't make it to the literal top, but he was so unbelievably close. This video features the deeply disturbing last moments before Jacob Cockle drowned to death. Jacob Cockle was spotted floating face down in the water at Carnsnew Pool on May 28, 2013. He was an avid surfer and diver. He did it day in and day out, but this particular day was different. He decided to put on a horse mask and jump into the whirlpool, thinking it would make for an interesting video. Whirlpools are extremely dangerous. Their strong spiraling currents can pull swimmers and even small boats under the surface all the way down to the bottom, where the lack of air can be fatal. This is exactly what happened to Jacob. He was pulled to the bottom and couldn't escape, drowning to death just moments after the video was captured. Whirlpools are incredibly hard to get out of. You never want to be anywhere near one of them, and some say he was tempting fate. Regardless, it's very unfortunate that it claimed his life. In January 2007, seasoned adventurer and mountaineer turned sea kayaker Andrew McCauley set out on what he had hoped would be the crowning achievement of his life, a solo crossing of the Tasman Sea from Tasmania to New Zealand. He was no novice. Earlier feats had him earned respect in extreme sports circles. He had previously completed many long-distance kayaking challenges in Australia. For this journey, McCauley modified his kayak with a fiberglass capsule for sleeping, relying on a delicate balance of gear to get him through this harsh journey. This video, featuring him crying, was taken just as he said goodbye to his family and set off on the grueling journey.
Bye, Dad! Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye, little booby.
Bye, Daddy!
Be careful.
For weeks, McCauley sent back visuals and short updates, documenting his progress and mindset, sometimes reflecting on how precarious the venture felt. But by early February, trouble manifested. On the evening of the 9th of February, McCauley made a distress radio call. The message was fragmented, but operators clearly heard "help" and "sinking." He said he had fallen off into the sea. The message arrived when he was estimated to be 30 kilometers away from Milford Sound, which is not far from completing his journey. A massive search kicked off, deploying planes and vessels across tens of thousands of square kilometers. By literally the next day, the 10th of February, rescuers recovered McCauley's kayak, floating and partially flooded, but intact, without him aboard. The cockpit canopy was missing, and it showed serious damage. Inside the kayak, many things were found: his satellite phone, emergency radio beacon, although it was never activated for some reason, and video gear. One particularly haunting piece of evidence was found: a final self-portrait, a photo recovered from his memory stick. This was believed to be taken just moments before his disappearance, showing a worn, intense face, sunscreen smeared, with the sea behind him. With no body ever recovered, investigators and experts have pieced together theories about how McCauley's end unfolded. One prevailing scenario: during a nighttime capsize, McCauley may have fallen out, been separated, and then unable to re-enter. The weight of gear, fatigue, cold, and storm conditions could have made this situation really difficult. Some believe he may have drowned in his sleep or succumbed to hypothermia after separation from the kayak. Regardless, the body has not been found, and without concrete proof, much is speculative. Imagine devoting years of your life to living in the wild, day after day, side by side, almost conversing with one of nature's most formidable predators, the grizzly bear. That was the strange reality of Timothy Treadwell, an environmentalist called the Bear Whisperer, whose ambition was to protect Alaskan bears and bring public attention to their dwindling numbers.
I'm out in the prime cut of the Big Green. Behind me is Ed and Rowdy, members of an up-and-coming sub-adult gang. They're challenging everything, including me. goes with the territory. If I show weakness, if I retreat, I may be hurt, I may be killed. I must hold my own if I'm going to stay within this land.
Over more than a decade, Treadwell filmed hundreds of hours of footage, naming and interacting with individual bears, crisscrossing the boundaries most people have. Unfortunately, in October 2003, his journey ended in tragedy. He and his girlfriend, Amy Huguenot, were attacked and killed by a bear in Katmai National Park, Alaska. The horrifying final moments captured on camera. Treadwell's life before the tragedy already had dramatic arcs. Born in Long Island in 1957, he struggled with addiction and drifted from conventional paths before finding purpose in the wilderness with bears. Over the years, he established a pattern. Each summer he would camp in Katmai National Park, often in bear territory, attempting to film natural behaviour and advocate for bear conservation. He named the bears he encountered, made public appearances, and grew increasingly invested in the idea that he and the bears shared a symbiotic trust. Yet his methods drew criticism. He repeatedly violated park rules, refused to carry deterrents, and refused to use electric fencing or bear spray, and even frequently camped later in the season than was safe. In 2003, Treadwell and his girlfriend returned to their camp later in the season than was typical, a period where food was scarcer and therefore bears became far more aggressive. They spent time locating a female bear he was concerned about, and Treadwell even recorded footage of a bear diving into a river for a fish just hours before the attack, commenting that he felt uneasy around that particular bear.
I want to introduce you to one of the key role players in this year's expedition. The bear's name is the Grinch. The Grinch has come on to be one of the more frequent bears here in the Grizzly Maze. The Grinch is a female of about 5 years of age. Oh, hi, Grinch. Hi. And she has kind of an aggressive attitude. Hi. If I turn around too much, she'll bite me. It's okay. Hi, how are you?
On the morning of October 5th, Treadwell spoke by satellite phone with an associate, reporting no trouble with bears. The next day, a pilot arrived to pick them up and found the campsite deserted, apart from a lone bear wandering nearby. When rangers later reached the scene, they discovered the gruesome remains, Treadwell's partial remains, his head, part of his spine, and his hand with the watch still on, were found some distance from the camp. Huguenot's remains lay near the collapsed tents. At the site, they killed a large male bear, whose stomach was later found to contain human remains and clothing. A camera recovered at the site had been operating at the time of the attack. The tape contained only about 6 minutes of audio, including Treadwell's cries and exchanges between him and Huguenot. No actual visual footage of the mauling was recorded. In the recording, you can hear Treadwell saying, play dead," followed by some really unsettling statements. Although no visuals were recorded, the audio is extremely chilling. For privacy reasons, they did not release the full audio, and the audio itself would never be allowed on YouTube anyway. Truly such a sad story. The Blue Hole off the coast of Dahab in Egypt's Red Sea is a sinkhole that has attracted divers from around the world with its eerie beauty and extreme appeal. It has also earned infamy. The site features a shallow opening and then a tunnel. This reaches about 55 meters depth, and beyond that the drop continues much deeper. While the Blue Hole itself isn't inherently more dangerous than other dive sites, diving through the arch is considered extreme. Many accidents and fatalities have occurred over the years. Estimates vary, but sources suggest that from 1997 to 2012, between 130 to 200 deaths have occurred at the site, including both diving and snorkeling incidents. One of the most notorious tragedies at the Blue Hole involved Yuri Lipsky, a 22-year-old Russian-Israeli diver. He was also a diving instructor. On April 28, 2000, Yuri attempted a dive through the arch, carrying just a single gas tank of air. He wished to dive very deep. His descent eventually became uncontrollable. He reached a depth of roughly 115 meters, which is 377 feet, far past the limits typically recognized for recreational diving, and well into territory where severe nitrogen narcosis could take hold. As the dive progressed, Yuri appears in footage from his own camera to have lost control of his descent. At those depths, under pressure, with nitrogen narcosis in effect, judgment and motor control degrade significantly. He panics, removes his regulator, and tries to get back to surface. The weight of the gas tank, the depth, make it far too hard for him to get out. He's trapped. The darkness increases, the pressure builds, and his options narrow. Ultimately, he reaches the sea floor at 115 meters and cannot return to the surface. Yuri's body was recovered the next day by a highly experienced deep-water diver. This diver had previously warned Lipsky about the risks of that dive. He found Yuri's camera with his last recorded moments. It includes scenes from the dive. It shows Yuri's descent, his panic, the attempts at correcting the situation. The video has circulated widely, becoming one of the most well-known pieces of recorded evidence of a diving death, because it captures the final moments from the diver's own perspective. In the winter of 1959, a group of 9 young, experienced hikers set out on a difficult expedition led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, aiming to reach Mount Atortin. The team were prepared for severe cold and deep snow, but their journey would take a strange and tragic turn. Their route was tough, even under ideal conditions. As they penetrated deeper into the remote terrain, weather and terrain hazards became worse and worse. What should have been a challenging but manageable trip turned into one of the most enduring unsolved mysteries in mountaineering history. Sometime overnight between February 1st and February 2nd, the group's tent was found significantly damaged with a slice or tear from the inside, rather than from an external collapse. Some equipment remained neatly arranged in the tent, but crucial personal gear, boots, warm clothing, was left behind. The fact that the hikers exited the tent voluntarily, in a hurry, and without proper clothing suggested that they were reacting to something urgent, fearing danger, or even suffocating inside. The layout of the camp, the terrain slope, and the snow conditions have all been scrutinized, with no immediate evidence of a massive avalanche at first glance. It took over 3 months for all 9 bodies to be discovered, scattered at varying distances from the original campsite. Some were found under a cliff, some in a ravine, and others near tree lines. While 6 of the hikers' deaths were attributed to hypothermia, 3 displayed fatal trauma, massive chest fractures, skull injuries, and internal damage uncharacteristic of typical avalanche victims. Additional odd details: one body was missing a tongue, traces of radiation were found on some clothing, and the force required to cause certain injuries was compared to a high-impact collision. Yet many victims had no external wounds. Because of these anomalies, the case drew intense speculation, and there are many theories, ranging from a catastrophic avalanche to secret military tests, or even paranormal or extraterrestrial involvement. A compelling modern theory, backed by scientific study, proposes a delayed slab avalanche triggered hours after the hikers cut into the snowpack for their tent. This theory can account for the tent damage, panic escape, and crush injuries, while also explaining why the avalanche didn't leave obvious signs by the time rescuers arrived. Nonetheless, critics argue that certain injuries, i.e. a missing tongue, internal damage, radiation traces, are hard to reconcile fully, even with this theory that makes the most sense. People continue to debate to this day, but the truth is, we don't know, and we likely won't ever know the full details of what happened to them.